Hello everybody, it's February 1st, 2011, and it's Mitch here with another Feels Like Monday. For releases today, it's just the Call of Duty map pack for the 360. It was released earlier this morning with a few download errors. The error was just being that some people weren't able to access it or fully download it, and that might just be because a lot of people are using up the server right now. The DLC runs at about $15 and it has 4 maps and a new zombie map. In gaming news, Parasite Eve 3rd Birthday has finally gotten a North American release date. It comes out on March 29th, 2011 and is exclusive for the PSP. I myself am a pretty big Parasite Eve fan, and I feel that I like the game really well because it mixes horror with fantasy. And it's a little disappointing to know that the game's going to be released only on the PSP, but it's been like that for a while. It would have been nice to see a console adaptation or continuation of the storyline. The game looks pretty cool, and I'm actually excited for the gameplay a little bit. But the only thing I do not like about it is the fact that if you play on easy, the game only takes about an hour, so the playthrough stuff you can unlock, it just turns into grinding if you want it that bad. As most of the gaming world knows, the PSP2 was announced under the name NGP. Now, it looks pretty cool, and it's glad to see actual analog sticks on a handheld console, considering the PSP had that crappy one. When it was first announced, there was demos and videos released, and people were comparing it to PS3 graphics and PS3 gameplay and spec. But unfortunately to say, it's using a processor that's going to be coming out in most smartphones and a lot of tablets now. Handheld really isn't ahead of the competition at all. There's also going to be a 3G release of the NGP. Now I hope that they're not going to release the 3G simultaneously in North America. I hope that they're going to give a little bit more time in Japan and see if the 3G network is actually worth going into and keeping support for. It's a little bit of a downer because you're going to have to get a 3G subscription in order to use the 3G compatibilities of that model. PS3 just came out with a firmware update, and unfortunately it's affecting a few models of the consoles, more new than old. It is stopping the hard disk from updating, and because of this firmware, I just really hope Sony finally fixes their firmware problems. This is probably the 3rd time they've had a problem with their firmware. And if you want to see the model numbers that are affected before you consider updating, it'll be down in the description bar below. Now in good PS3 news, they're releasing a cloud type format for the PS3 soon that just got announced. It will allow you to save your game save onto a server through the internet so you can play it, I guess, if you bring your console somewhere, or just so you never lose the game save in case something was to happen. It's cool to hear about this, but Sony is offering companies to opt out of this because of the fact that it's your game save on a server and there'll be some way to probably get it off and you can modify it and such. Here's some sad gaming news that I came across today. A lady in '95 who was 76 at the time sent Nintendo Power a letter explaining that she was a little sad that Enix America was closed and she hopes to see Dragon Quest VI before she dies. Now the sad part is Dragon Quest VI is finally getting an English translation that's set to release on February 14th this year. But that woman passed away on January 3rd. She died at 91. Now it's sad to hear news like this, but on the other hand it's kind of cool to know that there's older gamers out there and it's just not people around my age or teenagers. Now I'm super excited to announce this news about VGlog and what we're doing here. We are going to be starting a web series to hopefully start in spring. And I can't really give too much information out about it, but it has to do with gaming and it's sure to be fun to film and write. This week I don't really know what's exactly happening because we're in the middle of getting better technology to film console games with. We're in the middle of thinking of a new segment. But there will be a Rock Band 3 keyboard review released tomorrow. That's pretty much it for gaming news. So GG, L2P, and we'll see you next week.